In terms of starting pitching, I know Dave Dombrowski, in terms of the pursuit of someone like Shohei Ohtani or Yoshinobu Yamamoto, as pitchers have been on the market, has openly been saying, we're not actively feeling the need to go after any of these superstars or especially big name pitchers, because once Aaron Nola was signed to stay with the Phillies with an extension, with a new contract, I should say, now we feel like we're good. We'll give Zach Wheeler that extension. We've got Aaron Nola here. Hopefully Zach Wheeler gets that extension. I'm manifesting that as well. And we feel good with our starting pitching. So with that being said, if the management side feels good with the starting pitching, I would like to see more from the starting pitching. If this is the group you're going with, you didn't feel the need to go out and try to compete with the offers for Yamamoto around that $300 million, $325 million, then we need to see improvements in a lot of ways. Now, Taijuan Walker is the most obvious one. Could not see him in the postseason. Couldn't even throw a pitch in the playoffs because they didn't feel comfortable with him.
At one
and
point,
they felt like in the positioning
for the starters,
right?
In
Exactly.
the league. Yeah.
And that's the crazy part. At one point, and technically on paper, did have the best record, but his ERA in stretches of the game, especially in just how he wasn't able to start strong, was a concern. And for Taijuan Walker to have on your roster, but be the lone guy on the roster that could not even step foot out there during the playoffs is a problem. So I know they said, and according to the quotes that have come out from what Dave has said and Rob has said, things are fine with Taijuan. They've had good conversations with him. He's got the right mindset and mentality. He's just working on getting better, and they expect him to be better next year after having, as you mentioned, a 15-6 record, but 4.38 ERA. And the ERA, I remember we looked at Tyler before, in certain stretches of the game was just completely abysmal and not okay. So Taijuan Walker has to improve. Ranger and Christopher Sanchez have to be able to give you more. We know what we're getting from Zach Wheeler. We know what he brings as an ace. Zach Wheeler, hands lights out. Honestly, after that, I could be optimistic and say Aaron and Ranger and Christopher and Taijuan are going to be better. But what does that mean? Are we going to have a RAV4 fourth inning for Aaron Nola at any stretch? Are we going to have? Ranger dealt with injuries. Are we going to see a nice full season of Ranger? I understand little injuries will happen here and there, but are we going to see a full season of Ranger being healthy? Christopher Sanchez is one that really you felt like the work that Caleb Cotham and the staff have been doing with Christopher Sanchez has paid off. But 3.5 record, 3.44 ERA, and Christopher Sanchez was a guy that you saw late, obviously brought in. Okay, what does a full season look like for him? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of question marks, and that makes me optimistic, but also very nervous at the same time because there's still so much we have to see from them before we even get to bullpen arms. What are your starting pitchers going to bring outside of Zach Wheeler that we're not going to have the same issues we saw postseason where we had the drop off of, pitching at one point, you're holding the Braves so they couldn't score a run. And then all of a sudden you're just giving out runs like Oprah's giving out cars. You can't have this change in your pitching. It starts with the starting pitchers. It definitely ends with your closers and whoever you're bringing in as relievers. But overall, pitching arms need to be better. Because as we know, that's such a big part. And that is the one thing that the Phillies have as an advantage. One of the things they have as an advantage that going into this upcoming season, regardless whatever other teams do, the Dodgers bringing in Ohtani and Yamamoto, the Braves continue to be the Braves, the Rangers, the Astros, whatever anybody else does, the Phillies have one of the best pitching groups in the league. But can they bring that every single game or the majority of the games and definitely come postseason? I hope so.